to shut off. Okay. Okay. You sure that's not in your face? All right.
So you said that was $1 million question, right? Would
Right.
you regret it later on if you ultimately decided to lower your expectations and compromise? Now, last session we discussed the fact that you feel like you're doing all the compromising and all the sacrificing, and he's not really doing anything in return, so that's kind of deterring you from wanting to work on your current relationship. Is that something that you're still feeling, or is that something that you've reconsidered?
Well, I mean, I guess, like I said, it's just kind of knowing, like, I mean, it's been 20 years, so I guess I don't see things aren't going to change. I guess I don't believe that things are going to dramatically change. Like, you might have small improvements. So we've never enjoyed going on vacation together. So I'm like, fine, like, I put up with it for 20 years. Like, then you just kind of know that for the rest of my life, I'm not going to really have, like, ever plan a vacation. Like, he's just not a vacation person. So I end up going with a friend, and it's like, I'm just getting kind of sick of that. You know, I'd rather go, you know, with someone that, a companion, and somebody that, you know, like, you know, I'd like to go with than always going with a girlfriend. But if I get divorced, I'm just going by myself anyway. So what, you know, that doesn't mean that I'll, you know, ever find someone else to have a relationship with. Like, it's just, that's what I'm saying. There's a real lack of emotional support about certain things, and it's like, okay, can you just kind of live with that? And I have a really good relationship with both my kids, so I'm like, okay, they kind of fill that need, if I, you know, so, like, again, if I'm alone, that doesn't make it any better. So I just don't see where the alone thing's gonna really, like, make anything really better. It's just frustrating that, like I said, that we just never seem to have mutual goals about anything, and it's just like, I just don't know that I want to spend the rest of my life always having to just never have anything the way that I want it to be. And in his mind, I'm sure he thinks that, you know, but I let you do X or Y. So, like, we got this house, and it was supposed to be our forever house, and if we're going to do something, let's do it right. And he always half-asses everything. And so, you know, I thought the minute we walked in here, we were going to tear out one of the bathrooms and, you know, spend the money and have the big walk-in shower and do it right. And instead, 3 months later, I'm putting painting it and putting peel and stick tile on the floor. And that's exactly what we did to the house in New Hampshire. And he'll say, oh, it's just temporary. It's just temporary. And temporary, I can tell you, you'll be able to come here 10 years from now, and it'll still have peel and stick tile, and, you know, and I'll have less money because I'll be retiring, not, you know, more disposable income to do stuff with.
So from what we've discussed during the first half of this session and what we discussed last session, divorce isn't really something that is on the table for consideration because of your concerns about the process of divorce, of whether or not he'll make it complicated for you, or whether or not it'll turn out favorably in the end because of said complications. And we've also discussed the fact that you're not currently satisfied with the way that things are because you want that level of companionship that you don't currently have, and you can't really foresee it changing anytime in the future. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess in full transparency, I mean, I've said it to him, I'd say, you know, like, if tomorrow you could just wave a magic wand, split up your assets, and get divorced, I would totally do it. I would have no desire to stay married, but I just know that's not how it's going to work.
So with divorce off the table, we have your current situation. So he's living at your first house and
Right.
you're living here.
Right.
So you guys pretty much only see each other on the weekends.
Right.
So I think what we should work on is figuring out a way to make you more, not more okay, but more satisfied with your current situation, because divorce isn't really on the table, and you've discussed this with him and it hasn't really gone the way that you've wanted it to go. So I think that if we could maybe figure out a couple ways to make you more comfortable with your situation, that might make your day to day easier while you come to your final conclusions about what you want to do for the sake of your future. Does that sound like something you'd be willing to do, or were you looking to explore other options?
I guess that's my fear, though. I just don't want to, I'm not sure that divorce is off the table. I just don't know if, I guess that's where I don't, if supposedly he says we stay together because we love each other and we have this family and everything, then I don't understand how the same person, I can tolerate him saying, I'll do everything I can to be difficult if we get divorced. If you can't have it both ways. And so I guess that's where I get principled and ethical. Like, is it right to say, you've actually said that to me and I sit there and take it?
Why do you think it's not okay to say that?
I don't think it's okay to say I love someone and then I'm going to fuck you as much as I possibly can if you try to divorce me. That the exact quote is, I'd rather give it to a lawyer than to you.
Okay. And he actually said it to you. He said that
He's said it multiple times. That I won't make it easy. I'll do everything I can. And I just, like then on the one hand, like, how are you supposed to, act like you didn't say that, and just, which is what I do, and I just not sure that that's, like, where I don't see things that way. I mean, and he truly believes that his money's his and my money's mine, and he has a lot more of his than I have. And I'm just like, it shouldn't be that way. Like, it's not even legally that way. After 20 years, it's your mutual assets. It's like, I've had plenty of, like, friends or family go, Val, that's just not the way people talk. Like, people that are married don't talk that way. They don't just sit there and say, that's my money, you can't touch it. Like, you do things together.
It sounds like you have very validated reasons as to why you're kind of stuck between, for lack of better terms, a rock and a hard place. Like, you are honestly considering all of your options. Like, you've tried to discuss with him the option of divorce, and you've tried to discuss with him the option of change, and it sounds like he's told you exactly how he feels about divorce, and he's made it very clear that he's going to make it complicated for you. So it's understandable for you to fear those complications, because he's told you that that's exactly what's going to happen should you choose to go for the option of divorce. As for the fact that you are concerned about his ability to make any changes at this stage in your relationship, that's also understandable, because as you said before, when you love somebody, why would you say that you're going to take whatever chance you have to kind of screw them over should they choose to go with what's best for them? So it sounds like you have a lot that's weighing kind of heavily on your mind, and I can understand why you're kind of stuck between, do I go for it anyway, or do I just get content with the way that things are now? I know that we briefly discussed last session the possibility of seeking legal advice from somebody that's other than a friend, because I know that a close friend of yours had advised you not to go against him in court because she's dealt with him in a court setting previously. Have you thought any more about seeking legal advice from a different lawyer?
It's been really busy, but you're right. I did say I would do that, and I haven't done it. So I think that's not a bad thing. I mean, I've talked to lawyers in the past, and they're all pretty much like, give me a big check, and, and I mean, I've researched it myself, and I guess that's just, and again, I just don't get it because I could sit down in 20 minutes and like have this done. So it's not, and then I was really worried, like, just because I'm a very frugal person about the tax ramifications, but I saw with all the new tax laws that it doesn't even matter, like, to file like separately, like it's the same tax bracket for me, so it doesn't even matter. Like, so I'm like, okay, well, to get legally separated, it's not going to be this huge penalty or whatever it used to be. But with the new tax laws, like when I saw it, it's pretty much the same. So that kind of made it easier for me to say, like, okay, like even if it gets dragged out, it's not a big deal.
Right. So I think that looking into another lawyer and getting their opinion on the situation that you have with your husband might be a good idea, just because, like, I know that your friend is a lawyer. This is something that she understands. She understands the laws very well, but part of her conversation with you came from her dealings with him in a separate situation. I think it might be good to get legal advice on exactly how this process would go for you in your situation. So, like, exactly how would you guys decide on assets if there was some difficulty in deciding who gets what? How would you guys decide on, like, just all of the aspects of your relationship, like how things would get divided up should you guys go forth with a divorce, and whether or not he would legally be able to bar you from certain things and stuff like that. I think it might be good for you to have that information in your back pocket just in case, like, this is something you want to go forth with later on, because as you said, divorce isn't actually off the table. So if he's had a negative response to the conversation about divorce, have you guys talked about separation at all?
Alexa, turn off the timer. That's the first one, so you gotta wait for the second one. I'm sorry, what?
Have you guys discussed a trial separation at all? Like,
I tried all of that, and he just says, nope, everything's gonna be fine. Like, and I get it. I mean, and I've tried to get him to be honest and say, if it wasn't for the money that you'd lose, like, what would it really matter? Like, we only see each other on the weekends. We don't really have any mutual interests. We couldn't plan a vacation if our life depended on it. Like, we see our kids separately. So, and we don't have any mutual friends. So, like, nothing would change. Like, nothing would change. And so I'm like, it makes so much sense to just do it.
And he's never expressed exactly why he would want to.
He just says, no, it's fine. It's a phase you're going through. You're just, I know it was hard when you lost your job. You're just crazy. Like, you'll just, you'll just, like, kind of smooth it out, you'll fix yourself.
So last time we met, we'd also discussed the possibility of bringing him to counseling, and that you stated that you think that he would come for the sake of just appeasing you, but you're not sure that anything would change were you guys to come to counseling. Now, would you be comfortable with having him come to a session to have that conversation with him? If you're not looking to, or if your sole option isn't to simply work on the relationship and see about making it better, then maybe perhaps having the conversation about, like, hey, like, maybe we should try separation and see how things go, because these are your concerns and these are the things that aren't currently working for you.
Alexa, turn off the timer. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to doing that, though. I know, I mean, I don't have, there's not a doubt in my mind that I'm fairly articulate, and he could verbatim tell you that he knows what the problems are. He just doesn't see them as valid. So